Hi, everybody. I'm Mike Smith for Litter Media Live. This is a special edition for Pickaway County. We're talking today with Heather Foll, Community Outreach Director for the Pickaway DD office. Our interview today is presented by McDonald's. I'm loving it. Back with Heather right after this.
Whenever I first applied for the Archways opportunity, do I have to pay this back? Do I have to do that? Like, is it a loan? And it's not. It's a scholarship. A goal of mine is to graduate college debt-free. If you're a crew member, you get $2,500 a year, and if you're a manager, you get $3,000. And especially if you're going locally to college, like to the branch or something like that, it's really helpful.
Back with Heather Foll. March, the month of March, is Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month. Heather, welcome. Good to have you with us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I think I saw you on an interview somewhere recently.
Oh, probably.
Tell us about all the activities that you have coming up during, some of them have already passed, but what's coming up here in the month of March?
Yeah, so every March we celebrate Disability Awareness Month. It's not just in Pickaway County, it's a national thing. You probably heard a lot about what Ross County DD's been doing. They're always hard at work too. We had, for the first time this year, we called it the Art of Inclusion, and we teamed up with the Arts Around group in Circleville, and we opened up a display of artists with disabilities and their works. We kicked it off with an artist reception at our Pickaway County Library at the very beginning of the month, and we had over 70 people attend. It was a really, really nice reception. People got to meet the artists, buy some of their artwork, and now their artwork is on display at the Arts Around Gallery the remainder of the month. Mm-hmm. And then, as you know, we had a big March Madness school games, although we're not allowed to use March Madness, are we? That's a trademark thing. Yeah. Our school games are always a big hit. It brings together all of the local county schools, and we have Logan Elm versus Westfall, Taze Valley versus Circleville. All the kids that we serve through those school districts, along with their high school basketball players and their cheerleaders, all come together, and it's just a very inclusive game, fun competition between the schools, and it's just a great night of fun, and it just really sends out the message of inclusion and what it looks like for people with disabilities and people without to be together and interact socially.
I think one of our recent guests that we had in, I had mentioned this on that interview. In our church, we've had a number of people with developmental disabilities over the years. So it's not really a stretch for us to be around those folks. But for some people, as strange as it may be for you or I, they don't have that experience. And for them, and especially with younger kids, it might be something a little different. And I know with what you're talking about with the inclusion programs, it's to, bring people into that equation that, you know what, they're just people like you and I.
Yeah, I mean, the exciting thing is our younger kids are experiencing a different time, right, where it's just kind of a natural thing. Mm-hmm. My brother, who's 4 years younger than me, he was born in, I'm going to give away my age. He was born in 1978. He has Down syndrome, and my parents were immediately told to institutionalize. And when I look back now, my parents, you don't think of it until when you're a parent or an adult. My parents were in their 20s. They were kids themselves. So the nice thing is we're in a different time now, where the social interaction is more natural and just authentic. Some of the people that we serve that are older, they've never sometimes really had the opportunities like you and I do. So we have to kind of walk them through that and help them build relationships.
Don't feel bad about your age. I was graduating high school in 1978. You were talking about a neat grant that you got. We're going to save a lot of the details for a press release that's coming up, but you said you did want to touch a little bit on it.
Yeah, so we applied for one of the ARPA grants, and we received monies that we're excited about. This past October, Our board invested in bringing the Momentum Refresh mobile unit, which is an adult changing station from California is where they're out of, to the Circleville Pumpkin Show. And it was a game changer for people. Some people, we were getting emails from people from out of state that had heard about it, telling us that we've never been able to come to Pumpkin Show because I use a wheelchair and it's impossible to find somewhere to use the restroom. So we're going to the Pumpkin Show for the first time. So these ARPA grants that we've obtained has allowed us and several other county boards now in Ohio to contract with the Mobile Refresh Unit. Ours will be over the next 3 years to bring them to large events like the Pickaway County Fair, the Pumpkin Show, Asheville 4th of July, to give people the opportunity to experience it.
That's great. And again, we'll hear a lot more about that in the coming weeks. And hopefully here through Litter Media. Heather, I was thinking about any kind of an awareness month, and it seems like we have awareness days, weeks, months for just about everything. We don't want people in the general public to just focus on something for 1 month and then forget about it. You want to ingrain this in people's minds that, you know, these are our fellow citizens in our community, and we want to be welcoming to them. We want to include them and just be our neighbors every day. Yeah.
So what I always like to talk about is getting comfortable with the uncomfortable. Many times, as I just mentioned, I grew up with someone living with a disability. So that's just life, and that's been natural to me. But I do often remind people and myself that there are people who've never been around someone with a disability. And when we look at that, I think it's not because people don't want to or they're bad people. Right. There's an uncomfortable level, and we need to talk about it. To be very truthful, I think there's a fear factor, and it all boils down to some fears, and they're legitimate, right? Like, maybe what if they don't understand me? What if I don't understand them? What if there is a health or medical issue that I should be concerned about? And we have to talk about those things in order to get rid of those fears and allow us to be more open with each other.
I want to remind people that in the next couple of months, especially, there's a number of sporting events that many of our DD folks are going to be experiencing, i.e. Special Olympics.
Yeah, our Pickaway County Special Olympics is a strong organization. We've got golf. We have my brother always played softball, basketball, golf. He's kind of retired now into golf. But we have the track and field. We just this past year added powerlifting.
Wow.
Yeah, so they have the opportunity to go to regional and state competitions.
And do you, Pickaway County, do you participate in many of the qualifying events for the state Special Olympics with Ross and some of the other surrounding counties?
Yes, so all of our sports, whether it's golf, softball, track, powerlifting, and basketball, they all compete and turn in their statistics and things to go to regional. And then depending on how they do at regional, they may qualify to go to state.
Gotcha. Is that still held at Jesse Owens track? You know?
The track and field, yes, it is.
Okay, very good. And that's June when they hold that?
That is in June, yes. Yeah. I'm not sure of the exact date.
Correct. Heather, anything else you want to touch on before we close out today?
Yeah, I'm going to shamelessly plug the fact that the Pickaway County Board of DD has our own podcast. Oh. It is called What I Wanted to Say Was. And we chose that title because I found myself in a situation about a year ago where I had overheard a conversation in a business that I frequent and support and love, and I love the people. And it was about people with disabilities, and it was a little uneducated. Mm-hmm. And in that moment, it just hit me in such a bad way. I got choked up. And I just had to get out of there. Mm-hmm. And I got in my car and I cried. Mm-hmm. And I was so upset with myself. Like I missed an opportunity to educate. And I've done that often, but in this particular moment, and I thought to myself, man, what I wanted to say was, and I thought we all have had those moments. So our podcast, we just started it about 4 months ago, and we invite people of the community, in our community, to come in and talk, people that we serve, some of our staff, and we talk about inclusion, usually get into some really humorous conversations, but we always end with the topic of, did you ever have a moment in your life when you said to yourself, man, what I wanted to say was, and it's a really good discussion.
Yeah. How can they get to that podcast?
So you can find that on Spotify. And we also, every time we put one out, we're only doing it once a month right now to get started, but we put that out through our Facebook, our social media platforms.
Well, very good. Well, Heather, we appreciate you coming down today.
Yeah, thank you very much.
It sounds like you're going to have a busy end of March into the rest of the spring.
Yes, I just have a very busy, fun job, and I could talk to you for hours, so I appreciate the time you've given me.
Yeah, know that feeling of getting to do something every day that you love.
Yes.
Heather Foll, Community Outreach Director for Pickaway Developmental Disabilities, our guest on a special edition of Liberty Media Live, brought to you by McDonald's. I'm loving it. I'm Mike Smith.